بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Assalamu alaikum. It is Monday, the 22nd of August 2022. And in our series Reflections on the Holy Quran, this is broadcast number 348. And in our last broadcast, we had started to look at the meanings of the roots of the words used in this verse of the Holy Quran. So this is the second part in looking at the meanings of those words. Just to remind you that these broadcasts are brought to you by LASER, the Lahore Ahmadiyya School of Education in Religion, which is a branch of the Lahore Ahmadiyya movement or Ahmadiyya Nishat Islam. And you may know that Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Sahib was the founder of the Ahmadiyya movement. And his teaching was that although people bring another prophet after the Holy Prophet Muhammad, this cannot be right because the Holy Quran says that the Holy Prophet was Khatamun Nabiyyin, and the Holy Prophet explained its meaning by saying, La Nabiyya Badi, there is no prophet after me. So no prophet can come. His teaching, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad's teaching was also that apart from Quran and Hadith, we need to look at Sunnat separately. Sunnat is what people saw the Holy Prophet do, like how he performed wuzu or how he conducted certain salat. Now, hundreds of people saw that, learned from it, and then they taught others, and those others passed on this knowledge. So can't be any doubt in the Sunnah. But of course, with Hadith, which is collection of the sayings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, we have to be careful because the earliest collection was, which was a short collection, about 80 years after the Holy Prophet passed away. And then the most well-known books, Bukhari and Muslim, were compiled nearly 300 years after the passing away of the Holy Prophet Muhammad. And this is why each of these begins with A told B, who told C, who told D, who told E, who said that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said whatever. So with hadith we have to be very careful and really test them against the Holy Quran, against nature, etc., for their authenticity. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said that a hadith, an authentic hadith says that God will raise reformers among the Muslims. There will be no prophets, but reformers will come. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad said that because a prophet cannot arise the Messiah and Mahdi spoken of in the Hadith is in fact a metaphor, is a title for one of these mujaddids. And before him, many had appeared in different countries of the world. And this was a radical departure from thinking at the time from conservative orthodox theology. And people started saying that Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Rahmatullah Alayh and Ahmadis are kafirs and heretics and so on. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad again pointed to hadith which said that if one reciter of the kalima says to another reciter of the kalima that you are a kafir, then it is the person saying it who's the kafir. And the Holy Prophet said this to show his distaste for such a practice. And yet we have these days commonly taken it upon ourselves to judge people and take over God's duties from him. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also said that there is no such thing as theory of abrogation, although other people say some prophetic wahi has been missed from the Holy Quran, and some that is in the Holy Quran is abrogated and cancelled and so on. He said that all prophetic revelation the Holy Prophet received is in the Holy Quran, and nothing from it is abrogated. This is the trick that extremists use to incite people, saying all the verses about peaceful coexistence in the Holy Quran are abrogated. Muslims are now told to go out and convert people to Islam by force or kill them. This is a direct result of that theory. And Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad also said that jihad is a duty of every Muslim. But jihad is defined by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, who, when returning from fighting, said that Muslims were returning from the minor jihad to the major jihad. And then went on to explain that major jihad is the jihad with your own inner self, jihad bin nafs, with your own soul, with your own desires, your greed and enmity and hatred and 1,000 other things that we all know of. So let us turn to, as I said, verse 103 of the chapter titled Al-Baqarah, the second chapter of the Holy Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولو أنهم آمنوا واتقوا لمثوبة من عند الله خير لو كانوا يعلمون. And if they had believed and kept their duty, the reward from Allah would certainly have been better. Did they? But no. So, today we are going to look at the word lama lamathuba, lamathuba, or lamathubatum. Sorry, lamathubatum. So let's turn to my notes. This word has the root fa, ba, ba, fa, ba, ba. And this root is found in the Holy Quran 28 times in the form of 6 words. 6 words made from it are found in the Holy Quran. And the most common one, 13 times, is Thawab. And that's a noun, literally return. And 8 times as Thiyab. And 3 times as Ataba. And then the rest are sort of once or twice. And actually, I forgot to say that it consists of 2 segments. The first law is for emphasis. This is, like good, better, best kind of thing. So this emphasizes the noun that is to come, the reward. And its basic meaning is for something to turn to its original condition, or after reflection, to take something to the condition it should be in. For example, someone coming back home. Thaba, Fala means someone. Ila darihi. Someone came back home. But the most interesting application is cloth. One of the meanings is garments. It's reward, but it's also garment. So how can it be garments? Because the purpose of the thread that you have is to make a garment. So once you've used the thread and made cloth from it, then it is in the state that it should be in. So that is what Thawabul Aml, any return of some action. There is an interesting verse, chapter 74 or verse 4 is Vathiyabaka Fatahir. Some people take it literally and they say, well, it means that we should keep our clothes pure and clean. And some say, well, this is a metaphor. Thiyab here actually means your soul, your inner self. So this verse is actually telling us not only about physical purity, but also spiritual purity. That we should keep our insides, our thoughts, our desires, and so on, pure as well. And this is supported by another verse, chapter 23, verse 33, that can be cleanliness of the inner self. Because the Holy Quran says, Innama yuridullahu liyuzhiba ankumur rijsa ahlal bayti wa yutahhirakum tatahira. O family of the Prophet, Allah desires that you keep away from uncleanness so that He purifies them. So, I mean, if we are going to take this to mean physical purity, what does it mean? That the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's family should bathe, 10 times a day or something, so that they are physically clean? No. It means that they are responsible for ensuring that their nafs, their inner self, their soul, is kept away from uncleanness. And once they do that, the return is that God will return their inner self to purity. And of course, the word athawabu in Urdu, simply known as sawab, and that is the return that a person gets for his actions. So God says in chapter 59, verse 7, فَمَن يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ. Whoever does the tiniest bit, the atom's worth of good, then he will see that. So here, the return is to the person who does good and to his soul or spirit, etc. I mean, literally, because it's return. If you do good, the return will be good. And if you do bad, the return will be bad. But generally, thawab or thawaban has come to be used for good deeds. Thawabam min indillahi wallahu indahu husnul thawab. Chapter 3, verse 195. And it is God's return, God's reward. And God always gives a good reward. Husnul thawab. And in another place, فَآتَاهُمُ اللَّهُ ثَوَابَ الدُّنْيَا وَحُسْنَ ثَوَابِ الْآخِرَةِ. Chapter 3, verse 148. So in this world and in the hereafter, they will get a good reward or a good return. And similarly, in this verse here, if they had believed and had been muttaqi, done their duty, then they would have been granted a good return, a good reward. La, this emphasizes the degree of their return. Similarly, فَأَصَابَهُمُ اللَّهُ بِمَا قَالُوا جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي min min tahtihal anhar, chapter 5, verse 85. And then God will grant them gardens under which flow rivers. And that a description of heavens or Jannah. But interestingly, in chapter 2, verse 152, it's also used to mean punishment. فَأَثَابَكُمْ أَغَمَا أَغَمَّا بِغَمٍّ. And God inflicted upon them sorrow upon sorrow. So you can say that punishment, this is a metaphor, that punishment is described as thawab. But if you keep in mind that it means return, then if you do a good deed, the return will be good. If you do a bad deed, the return will be bad. For example, we have Hal Thubbibal Kuffar, chapter 83, verse 23. And the unbelievers will be paid back in full. Now, unbelievers will be, they're not going to be paid back with something good. That is that, for their disobedience, etc., they'll be punished as they deserve to be. And in chapter 2, verse 125, there's a very interesting use of this, where it says, وَإِذْ جَعَلْنَا الْبَيْتَ مَثَابَةً لِلنَّاسِ. And when we made the house a place for people to gather. This refers to the Holy Kaaba, of course. And some people says here, mathabatan, it means a place of return, a place of reward. And the widows and divorced women, the same word is used for them, chapter 66, verse 5. Timba abkara. So, but the interesting thing to remember is that we're talking about a return. Thawab in the sense of when you do something. Because in some countries I say, but especially in India and Pakistan, what people do is that when a relative or beloved person dies away, like a father or their mother or someone, then they gather people together and they hold certain ceremonies, and the Holy Quran is recited in full, sometimes by professional people, not the family doing the recitation. It's professional reciters who do the recitation. And then after the recitation, they come and they say, right, okay, how many parts of the Holy Quran have been recited? And I'll say, I did one part, and someone will say, I recited 3 parts, and so on, and they count it all up, and then they say, well, then they divide it, add them all up and divide them by 30, and they say, so many Qurans have been completed, and all the reward, all the return that these people who recited the Holy Quran were going to receive. I am now I am now going to transfer it to the deceased. But looking at these verses of the Holy Quran that I've just recited, it makes it clear that thawab is a return, and return is something you do and then it's returned. The consequence is returned. For example, you only get paid at the end of the week or end of the month if you turn up for work. Well, you may be sick and might send in a sick note and so on, but okay, that is also you doing something. If the doctor says to me, I need to lose weight, and I need to, I don't know, go for a run or go for a walk for an hour or so, and I can't be bothered, and I ask someone, look, I'll give you £10. Can you run 3 miles for me? And then after you run, I'll give you £10 and you will transfer the benefit of running to my health from your health. Do you think it's possible physically that someone else does the running and I get the health benefit? You're going to say, don't be so stupid. How can that possibly work? Well, it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. What we're saying is that this person has died and he's gone. And I'm going to do some good deed, and a third party is going to come and transfer the reward of my good deed from me to someone else. How is that possible? This is un-Islamic, un-Quranic as far as these verses of the Holy Quran are concerned, because the idea is return. It's a result of something that you have done that is coming back. So if you haven't done it, there is no return for you. If the doctor says go for a run, for a 3-mile run every day, and I don't, and I pay someone, as I said, to run on my behalf, he is the one who's going to get the money and the health benefit, not me. I'll only get the health benefit if I go out and do the running. Where this idea has come from, I don't have a definitive answer for that, but of course, it's very similar to the Christian idea that I've sinned and Jesus Christ, the Holy Prophet Jesus Christ, salam, he ascended the cross for my sins. And the action he took, its reward is not going to be given to him, but its reward is going to return to me and wash away all my sins for me. This is not a definitive answer. I'm just guessing that maybe, because the idea is very similar to that. Maybe there is something similar in Hinduism, etc., as well, which we have followed. I don't know. But with that, I take my leave of you with the prayer that whoever you are and wherever you may be, may Allah keep all of you safe and sound and free from harm. Assalamu alaikum, Khuda Hafiz, and goodbye.